Yo, what is up everyone? Back here with another video. Today we're going to be going over a team that was built for, Series 12, another one of these teams. This team is going to be featuring Zacian and Yveltal. A really cool combination, I think, that has a lot of potential to work in this format. And funny enough, I'm scrolling through my YouTube, whatever. I had to talk to Google support today or whatever, and I'm like looking through like some YouTube comments, right? And someone's literally like, when is Joe gonna use like Yveltal's son Torquel stuff or whatever, something like that. And it's funny because literally that's the video we're making today. But once again, guys, if you guys want to support the videos, please make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. It helps me out hella. Thank you guys for support as always. But yeah, we'll go through the individual mons first, then the pairs, and then kind of, talk about a bit of a summary of the team. Basically, this team is meant to have a couple of different modes that you can utilize. You can utilize a Sun mode to be a bit more defensive if need be. You can utilize the Yveltal mode with Landorus and Sun to be kind of a single restricted mode on its own that can exert a lot of pressure in that regard. And you can also use both Yveltal and Zacian next to Landorus and another partner, potentially Grimmsnarl, right? Which can give you a lot of flexibility, right? Now, the main idea behind this team was basically to kind of have a similar feeling and playstyle to the team that I used to win the Victory Road Open, or like the Series 11 Open, whatever it was, in back then, right? So it's very similar to it. I feel like it's a good composition overall. Zacian adds a lot because you actually get like extra pressure from it with like Behemoth Blades. But yeah, they just work really well together too because you can airstream with Yveltal and Landers next to Zacian. You have like max Quake potential with Venusaur. And both restricteds don't necessarily need the max, so you can kind of focus the max around Venusaur and Landorus. But yeah, so we'll go through each individual set. So the Yveltal is going to be running an Assault Vest set. It's going to be running Foul Play, Oblivion Wing, Sucker Punch, Snarl. This is the essential Assault Vest set. You always need these 4 moves. Nothing should really be replaced on this team. Dark Pulse isn't that good on Yveltal in my opinion. Snarl gives you a special Dark move in max anyways. And you have Dark Aura anyways boosting it, so it still does a lot of damage. And on top of that, you need Foul Play to punish like setup moves. It also gives you something to actually hit Zacian. I think if you were going to go with a offensive Yveltal, you'd probably want like Oblivion Wing, Dark Pulse, Heat Wave, and Protect, but like it doesn't fit on this team in my opinion. But yeah. Zacian's gonna be running a pretty standard set. It's running Behemoth Blade, Sacred Sword, Substitute, and Protect. Pretty much just meant to set up substitutes, go for damage, be in good positions. You can even set sub next to Landers, go for Airstream Substitute. You get a lot of good combinations that way, and it's able to exert a lot of pressure once you stack the boost on it, right? Venusaur is going to be the standard Koba bulky set. I just think this is the best set in GS Cup, honestly. It just seems super good, and it's just able to take a bunch of hits, so I really like it. Being able to kind of eat up and absorb that damage is just a super useful tool, and there's a lot of max airstream in the format, so this gives you a good way to kind of just sit there and take hits that otherwise might give you a little bit of trouble. For Landorus is just running the standard Life Orb set. This Landorus isn't running Swords Dance, it's running Earthquake, Rock Slide, Fly, and Protect, similar to Landorus I used to win Victory Road. I don't think you need Swords Dance with Life Orb Landorus. The immediate offense is pretty useful, and also to Swords Dance forces you to waste a turn, and with this team you want to be constantly exerting pressure. And by running Swords Dance, you're not really doing so, right? Like, instead of clicking Swords Dance, maybe click like Earthquake, right? Or like Rock Slide, put on some pressure. Like, there's a lot you can do, which is really nice. Next slot, Grimmsnarl, pretty standard set. It's running Light Clay. You get the Spirit Break, you get the Light Screen, you get the Reflect, and then I believe this Grimmsnarl, let me double check this, because I've been alternating between Scary Face and Thunderwave. Realistically, you can run one or the other. This one has Thunderwave. I would consider potentially putting on Scary Face, because Dragapult's not as useful anymore in the format, so like Thunderwave isn't as relevant to it. Also, you can Scary Face your own Pokemon to like underspeed certain things, so it could be really nice in that regard. I would say that when it comes to Grimmsnarl as well, like Thunderwave or Scary Face probably works, but I'd probably recommend like either. Either is fine. I just bias towards Thunderwave because I've used it more and it gives you the chance of like cheesing your opponents out of a move by them getting paralyzed, but majority of the time it's just preference. Then finally we have Torquel. Torquel's running Burning Jealousy, Body Press, Yawn, Protect, pretty standard bulky Torquel set. You're seeing a little bit less Torquel in this format, mostly just because Groudon exists, but I still think Torquel's a legitimate option for Sun without having to give up a slot for it, right? And on this team, you don't really want to give up a restricted slot for this because you want to be able to utilize Zacian and Yveltal, right? So it's just a nice option there. So now we can get into the common pairs. So for the common pairs, the first pair I wanted to note was Venusaur Grimmsnarl. This pair is just really good at slowing the opponent down and not letting them do what they want to do. You can literally lead this into any like Kyogre team and just like stall the Tornadus Kyogre lead pretty efficiently. The only thing that's tricky about it is like now Zacian exists, but that's what you use Torquel for, and then you also have like Yveltal or Zacian depending on the situation, right? Typically, if you're leading Venusaur and Grimmsnarl, you're going to be keeping the Torquel in the back almost like 100% of the time. And you're going to have the Zacian and Yveltal there as well. Sometimes it makes sense to alternate the Grimmsnarl with the Zacian for this lead and keep the Torquel and the Yveltal in the back if you want to bring both restricteds. So that's just like a nice tool as well. For the second pair, Zacian and Incineroar, this pair is just good at exerting immediate offense with Behemoth Blade. You can pretty much lead this into a lot of screen teams to immediately pin the Grimmsnarl. I mean, you don't always have to just go for a Behemoth Blade. Obviously, you can do something like swap out Zacian Parting Shot, but majority of the times it is really nice to just be able to exert that Behemoth Blade pressure immediately next to Fake Out, right? Or just go for that Parting Shot, swap out Zacian, and do what you want there. It's just a super nice combination that gives you a lot of flexibility and things that you can do to kind of keep your opponent on their toes. And I find that with teams like these, it's very important to utilize your offensive tools strongly. So it seems like in the restricted format so far, from what I've noticed, there are 2 restricteds, 2 really offensive Dynamaxers, 2 support mons, right? And you'll see this on a lot of teams. Even the 2 teams we've posted before is kind of similar to that, right? This team is pretty much 2 restricteds, Zacian, or not Zacian, Venusaur Landorus, offensive maxes, and then you have support with Grimmsnarl Torquel. You look at some of the other teams, even the, Zacian Groudon Sun team, right? You have Groudon Zacian restricted, you have Venusaur Charizard offensive maxes, then you have Incineroar and Grimmsnarl support, right? So just kind of that general idea of how you're utilizing the teams to kind of fit there, but yeah. And in that regard, it's nice because after utilizing the same Pokemon a lot, it's good because it'll give you practice with like playing with them and kind of understanding how to use them. Like I feel like this team lends itself well to like someone trying to learn the game because it's very straightforward, right? Like you lead Torquel Venusaur to either disrupt with a bunch of status, you lead Grimmsnarl and like Venusaur to get Fine Lash down early and then clean up with your back. You know, you have a lot of options there. But anyways, going on to the third common pair, I should say, Venusaur Torquel. So Venusaur and Torquel is pretty much focused around having the pressure of Burning Jealousy, Yawn, Sleep Powder immediately, and potentially being able to go for Vine Lash and a Burning Jealousy early. Those 2 combined is just really nice, and it makes it really hard for opposing Zacian to swap in. It's a little bit trickier when you're playing versus like Zacian Kyogre because your Torquel needs to stay cycling a lot more, but even then, you can potentially lead this just to disrupt the Kyogre lead and then just swap out Torquel, right? So it just gives you a lot of nice options in that regard, and that's something that I really like about this lead because Torquel's so slow, you know, it's always going to be the last one to set the weather. So it's really nice there. And like Body Press from Torquel is also doing a bunch of damage, right? You're able to chunk Incineroars really comfortably, and you're able to do a bunch of damage to those, right? So you can even chunk an Incineroar, bring it into range of like Max Quake from Venusaur, you know? But yeah, I mean, overall, like that's kind of the main idea behind the team. The team is meant to be very flexible. The restricteds don't really need Max to function. Yveltal can use it, but majority of the times you're not going to find yourself using it too often. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for the overall explanation of the individual Pokemon and the pairs. Typically, you'll find that like bringing both your restricteds to the match is nice, although sometimes you can bring single restricted modes and the team should work just as efficiently. So that's pretty much it when it comes to the actual team aspect. Obviously, in terms of extra like access to like teams earlier, like when I make them, check out the Patreon. Patrons do get access to these teams like pretty early. Like I had already posted all these pastes. The only thing that wasn't up was the rental because I had to like collect the rentals up for a bit. But you get access to like all the pastes of these teams early. You get access to a lot of this early, so it's super useful. Also, too, if you guys would like to improve your game, make sure to check out coaching. Lately, there's been a lot of people signing up, mostly because of Series 12 coming back and, you know, real life events right on the horizon. So I incredibly appreciate all the support, guys. Thank you so much, and I will see you guys on the next video. Peace.